Day 18, big day for a lot of us, right? This one focuses heavily on the bonus dads, or you can call them stepdads, but we made a decision a long time ago when the hot wife and I first got married. No stepdad, only bonus dad. As you guys know, hype music, focus music. If you want to specifically do this for the bonus dads out there, what's working, what's not, questions, comments, concerns, whatever it may be, this community is here for all of you. Stepdads, bonus dads, single dads, and divorced dads. Got it? That's why we built this community. It's to build unity and strength. This is no BS stuff. Bonus dads, listen to me. Man, I make this video. I will have been married 10 years. Okay? Well, December will be 10 years. When I was blending our family together with the hot wife, it's extremely difficult. It's one of the hardest things and yet the most rewarding things I've ever done is taking a family unit that doesn't fit the mold of what the traditional style of family unit is. And then we rewrite the script to where it says, this is our traditional family. This is our family unit. Now, heed my counsel. The first year of our marriage, I caused a lot, and I mean a ton of heartache, a ton of unnecessary drama, a ton of unnecessary pain, distrust. When I say distrust, I'm not talking about like I was watching porn or I was watching movies or cheating or none of that. No emotional cheating as they call it. None of that. What I mean by distrust is that sometime when I was divulged conversations between the hot wife and I, there were a few times that I had said something to the extended family in hopes, my mind was, I'll say this in hopes that they will be able to want to understand and now be a part, as opposed to just keeping that in between us and working with the extended family on becoming more of a sisterhood. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years into the marriage, my struggle had always been, and it still is, I still struggle, not nearly as bad, but communicating, talking on a level to where to the hot wife and I felt like we're on the same boat, we're on the same page, we're unified. It was just this awkward dynamic because I have never really been an open conversational person. If people that know me now, but back then, I mean, I wasn't, I was a locked book. I didn't trust a lot of people. I had so many issues within my younger self, high school, post-college, coming home from a mission that I served, in the sense of I just did not trust people, period, end of story. Hot wife helped me understand and recognize a lot of the areas that I need to become better. And that was the big point. That's the point that I want you guys to understand is number one. Here's the point. Number one, when you get remarried, 70% of the second marriages end in divorce. That statistic is probably going to change. I'm hoping it goes down. But at the time I'm shooting this, 70% of second marriages end in divorce. And I can see why. It's very difficult when you're not on the same page or you don't feel like you're a unified group or one is fighting harder than the other. Secondly is second marriages often come with multiple baggages. And it's not just baggages between the spouses, right? The bigger stuff is with the children. And here's why I say that, because the children at whatever age group they are. Now, I can only speak to kids that are around 21 and younger, because that's when we started our family. Our oldest is 21, and our youngest was 4. Now they're a lot older, but they all have their own ways of trying to process a family and process the traditional mode to the current mode. They're all trying to process emotions from not only the family that they're in, but their loyalty to both of their biological parents, and then try to fit in and try to understand a new relationship with their bonus parent. So you're going to encapsulate a mountain of emotions and highs and lows, good times and bad times, and you're going to a mountain of just uncertainty is going to be there. It's going to be there. I'm telling you this right now. It is going to be there. At whatever age those children are, at some point, that mountain of, dang it. Here's what I knew. Is when you have, like yesterday on day 17, talked about being intentional with the time that you spend with your biological children as a single father, your intentional time as a bonus dad is that amplified. Now you can find little things to do, right? You got to work your way into the trust of a child. Okay. You have to work your way into it. You can't force it. You definitely cannot get mad or frustrated when you don't feel like what you're saying, or they don't respect you, or they don't want to listen to you, or you have no bearing on them. You're going to hear all kinds of fun things, okay? And that's just them trying to process their own emotions. They're children. They are kids. Be sensitive to that. Be understanding to that. Be cognitive of that. And listen. The one thing that I think this hot wife and I did really, really well was communicate with each other on that level of our children. Needs and wants, highs and lows. What could we do? She was the one who introduced the 5 love languages. She was the one that introduced understand the Enneagram. She was the one that introduced doing service. She was the one who introduced how our family could start to bond as a unit, as a loving family. Okay? Is our family perfect today? Absolutely not. There is no such thing as perfection. It's impossible to get perfection. What we are really, really, really good at is we are really good at understanding barriers and understanding points and understanding, hey, this is what I'm going to allow you into my space. That's what we're really good at. So it is okay. It is completely okay to allow space within you and your bio and bonus children, with you and your spouse. You got to set up those parameters and say, hey, here is what is acceptable and here is what is not acceptable. Here is what is okay and here is not what is okay. Here is, joking and having fun. Here is crossing the line. Respectful. We call them barriers, also known as boundaries. You need to then, as a dad, as the father, we call it the head of the house. Okay. And that is not like a man beating on the chest. No, that's a head of the house, right? Your role is head of house. You work side by side with your partner in building and growing the house. That's what you do. That's what it is. As the head of house, you get to set standards outside of the home on what people can and cannot do. Extended family, friends, acquaintances, what is allowed and what is not allowed. The sooner I realized what the hot wife was needing from me, the quicker I realized the boundaries that will be established in our home. And once those establishments came and said, this is the order in which we run the house, not everybody's going to appreciate it. Not everybody's going to like it or agree with it. That's okay. But this is your house. You become the head of the house. They need to be leaders and alphas. You both are alphas. But what does the alpha wolf do? He trains, he empowers, and then he cares for those that are still struggling, because he knows that there are going to be changes. There's going to be times when some will have to slow down because they're getting tired and weak, and while others can pick up the slack. So in your mind, as a bonus dad, as you develop this bonus family and as you work in this mixed family, your mindset needs to be, I am the head of the house. You need to sit down with your spouse, and you just sit down with your significant other and say, what are the roles that we are going to play? What are the roles that we need to instill? What are the roles and how we can become a better family unit? What is that role? And define those roles. I wish, oh my gosh, I wish so much that I was more bold in the first few years of our marriage to establish and define those roles as a husband, as a provider, as a bonus dad, more importantly, as a head of the house. Going back, and this is why I say the head of the house. Go back to week 15. And what was that whole discussion on? Your spouse and your children do not care about your feelings. Remember that. And what was the feelings? Business dad, entrepreneur dad, right? CEO dad, right? Top 1% CEO, best-selling author, top motivational speaker. They don't care about that. They care about dad. They care about you being present. The only way that you can become present is if there is a standard of boundaries that are set in your home and say, this is our standard. This is our home. And where does that come from? It comes from the protector. When your wife knows she can be protected and she can feel confident and secure and safe around you, when your children know that you have their feelings in the best interest, when everybody in the house knows that this is a place of safety and security, you watch what happens. You watch your relationship grow and sprout and become blissful with your hot wife or your hot spouse. You watch that information and that relationship with your children starts to bloom and grow and plant, and then you start to gain that relationship. You gain that knowledge. You gain that respect from everybody in the house. That's what habit number 3 is finding those systems that are going to work for you. How do you become more intentional with your family? How do you become more intentional with who you are? How do you pull up your freaking pants and get to work? Stop complaining. Stop pissing and moaning. Stop. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to think it. And I guarantee you, your hot wife or your spouse and your children, bonus children, bio children, we'll just call them your children, they don't want to hear it either. Misery loves company. You want to be miserable, that's on you. But then you need to look in the mirror and say, why is my family where it's at? Hard look, hard lessons. And I can say that because I have looked in the mirror plenty of times and still do. One of the biggest decisions that the hot wife and I first established into our marriage was this notion of no sleepovers. No sleepovers. No sleepovers. You can have late nights, you can hang out, but there are no sleepovers. There was very, very small and few exceptions. Very small. If family, like out of town visitors, right? If they came and needed a place to stay, obviously, right? But there were very small, very few exceptions to that rule. And that was the first big decision that the hot wife and I made. And I instituted and said, this is what we're going to be doing. This is our choice. This is my choice in saying that in our house, there are no sleepovers. There's late nights, 100%, but there are no sleepovers. Too many bad things can happen in a sleepover. I don't care if it's best friends, cousins. I don't care if you've grown up with them your entire life. Bad things can happen in sleepovers. But more importantly, we just wanted our children to know, come back and be safe. When they wake up and see each other. They have that time together in the morning. They wake up and we started to develop and build that family unit. So my challenge to you is this. Find that decision that you will hold your hat on and establish, and you will plant in the ground and say, in my house, this is the decision that I made. The counsel we had, but this is the decision. From that point forward, watch what happens. Watch what happens. Love you, boys.